Right now at 5, we have an eye on Washington, where a vote is expected at any moment in a government shutdown debt limit deal. Nothing is official in Washington until votes pass and bills are signed. New at 5, CBS 11's Bud Gillette is live at the George Bush Presidential Center on the campus of SMU with the local impact if the U.S. does go into default. Bud.
Well, Karen, the Presidential Center here is one of the places that would like to reopen if everything works out the way it's supposed to. But what if it doesn't? What if they don't sign on the dotted line? What if the U.S. goes into default? Well, we went looking for some answers. If the gloom and doom predicted in Washington actually hits, will we feel it? Opinions among professionals are mixed.
There's always a wall of worry the stock market has, and this is just the wall of worry du jour.
Financial strategist Clark Hodges argues that money will keep coming into the U.S. Treasury and the stock market will just limp on to the next crisis. He believes the doomsday predictions from politicians is really just them positioning themselves for the next election.
And we're all like a soap opera or sporting event being sucked into it when it's really, in my opinion, business as usual, and that's just the way things operate.
His only concern is whether the U.S. credit rating might suffer in the short term. But SMU professor of economics and finance Mike Davis believes since we don't know just what will happen, uncertainty alone is cause for concern, even if Americans don't know it yet.
You know, people just sort of don't worry about, they figure it'll be resolved in a few days. The government can sort of rearrange the deck chairs a little bit to make sure that people, that the debt gets redeemed and so forth. But the problem is we don't know.
Now, much depends on the American people, their reaction, not just that of major investors. We'll talk to some of those American people coming up on CBS 11 News tonight at 6 o'clock. Live in University Park, I'm Bud Gillette, CBS 11 News.
Thank you, Bud.
Right now at 6.
What's the deal? The Senate reaches an agreement to restart the government and avoid a debt default. Will both houses actually pass it? The news at 6 starts right now.
Live from Fort Worth, Dallas, and all of North Texas, with coverage you can count on. This is CBS 11 News at 6.
After 2 days of being covered by clouds and rain. Thank you very much, Jeff. Developing right now in Washington, a deal to end the government shutdown and raise the debt ceiling. The Senate has come up with a bipartisan agreement to fund the government through January and raise the debt limit through February 7th. You can see Senator Ted Cruz is on the floor right now. We are waiting on the Senate to vote, which they're supposed to do at any time. That bill, if passed, and it is expected to, is then going to head to the House. And Speaker John Boehner says Republicans will pass this bill. But what if that deal falls apart? What will be the impact here in North Texas? CBS 11's Bud Gillette is at the George W. Bush Presidential Center in Dallas with a look for us. Bud?
Well, Karen, the library and museum here have been shut down these 16 days, and so word of a deal obviously is good news here. But as you say, what if that deal falls through? What if they hit that debt ceiling? What happens then?
You've got the money, you're just squabbling over who to pay and when to pay it.
Financial strategist Clark Hodges argues money will continue to come to the Treasury despite a default. And even if the U.S. credit rating suffers, heavy investors would still likely park their funds here.
At the end of the day, they're going to need to put that money somewhere, and we're probably still the best option for a lot of them.
We're about to jump into a big black hole if we don't do the debt resolution.
SMU professor of economics and finance Mike Davis worries a default is uncharted territory.
Maybe nothing happens, but we really don't know what would happen if the government would go through even a kind of a technical default on some of its debt.
Davis believes the average American isn't worried yet.
I don't know.
Our unscientific poll tended to bear that out.
Trust our people in Congress. Hopefully, they're going to do the right thing.
Probably nothing. I mean, there's no reason to get over anxious about something that's probably not going to happen for another month or two anyway.
I think I, like most Americans, have assumed all along that no matter how incompetent and dysfunctional they seem to be, that in the end they actually manage to pull it together enough to not actually default.
Now, not too many years ago, if the Texas legislature was running up against a midnight sine die shutdown and the work wasn't done, they would stop the official clock in the chambers and do their work, essentially freezing time legally in order to get the work done. Let's hope that kind of miracle is not needed in order to wrap things up in Congress and the White House tonight. Live in University Park, Bud Gillette, CBS 11 News.